Hello and welcome back to another episode of The Turnstile. Thank you again for joining us on this way to 100 subscribers. My name's Harry, and today it felt like a poor day to wake up as an Arsenal fan. We've seen a couple of disappointing results over the last few games. Obviously, we had the 2-0, which turned into 2-2 away at Liverpool. Obviously, throwing away a 2-goal lead against West Ham. And obviously coming into this one before the City game, it felt like a must win, but it didn't go the way that we wanted it to. Now, after a little bit of time to reflect on it, when I came out of the stadium on the night, I felt disappointed. I felt like the league's gone. But we have to break it down. We have to look at the positive side of things. It's been made a little bit easier after seeing Newcastle absolutely destroy Tottenham 6-1 today, which can put a smile on any Arsenal fan's face, no matter what the situation is. Going into the game, we all knew it was a must-win. There were nerves in the sense of everybody was talking about that Manchester City game. But I was really worried that we might overlook playing against Southampton. I think what's happening at the moment is with the games where we drew to Liverpool and West Ham, people were starting to say it was a bottle job, and I think it was far from it. I hate the phrase a bottle job. But I think the game against Southampton, that's when I started to think maybe we have bottled this. This felt like a bottle. Obviously, we've got a couple of injuries in the team. I think Saliba missing, we've said before, has been a huge, huge impact. Against West Ham, obviously, Rob Holding, I completely respect. He's playing to his strengths. When he gets the ball, he just boots it long. He's not trying to play on the ball. So he's playing to his strengths. But with Saliba, he gives you that calmness at the back. He can do a little Cruyff turn, play it into midfield. And I think that's a huge factor. But seeing Arteta and some of the decisions he's made makes me think that maybe it's him that's cracking under the pressure a little bit. We saw it against Liverpool, bringing on substitutions like Kivior. I think throwing anybody in when they haven't played much Premier League football, throwing them in at Anfield away in a must-win, it's not a very smart decision. And I think when we saw that Granit Xhaka was missing against Southampton, the obvious call for me would have been to put in Jorginho. I think he's played solidly for us. I think he would have brought a little bit more certainty to the midfield, although not much more attacking. I think it could have benefited us in just sitting back, catching them on the counter-attack, allowing Erdegaard a little bit more free-flowing. Vieira, he looked so far out of his depth. I don't want to criticise him too much. Obviously, he's not played a huge amount of football for us, but he had a very, very poor game. Obviously, opening it up, didn't even see what happened. I was still finding my way to my seat when I saw the ball hit the back of the net for the first Southampton goal. Huge error by Aaron Ramsdale. But again, in a Premier League season like this, there are going to be goals that your keeper costs you, and there's going to be games where he absolutely digs you out of a hole, which he did against Liverpool. So he's probably due the error. I'm not going to hold it against him too much. I think because we're a young team, we're starting to see a little bit of fragility in there. I think Zinchenko's maybe getting a little bit carried away from him with himself, calling the huddle after the goal, after he's obviously lost his man from the corner. He's been caught out in midfield a few times. I think they need to go back to just enjoying what they do, enjoying playing football. We've seen it this season where we've gone behind games like the West Ham game when we were at the Emirates, like the Bournemouth game. This team seems very, very resilient. This is the first time where I've seen us go behind, and instead of just carrying on playing the football that we play and working our way back into the game, we panicked and we just went into overdrive. Now, we were unlucky. We could have taken the lead in the last couple of minutes, which would have been absolutely amazing, but it wasn't to be our day. Like I say, everyone seems to think that the title is over now. It's still in our hands. I've come out the other side of being negative about it and dwelling on the performance. And now I'm looking at the positives. Have we had our blip? Was that it? Is Saliba going to come back? We beat Manchester City. Saliba comes back in the team. All we have to do is win our next 6 games and we win a Premier League title. Now, Manchester City as well, they're still in the Champions League. Obviously, they've got the FA Cup final now as well. They haven't lost in 15 games. Now, no matter who you are, eventually that run has to break. They do still have to play Brighton. They have to play Chelsea, who are in terrible form, but it's the sort of game that they could pop up and put in a performance. We know that Chelsea love to have an input in the title decider. They did it obviously against Spurs when Leicester won the league. They could do it against us, but just as well, they could do it against Manchester City. Now, seeing Newcastle absolutely blow Spurs out of the water, obviously Newcastle now sitting in third place on 59 points. You've got Manchester United, a game behind them on 59 points. Then you've got Spurs who have played 32, so 2 more than United, 1 more than Newcastle. That top 4 could be over by the time that we go to Newcastle. So it's not out of the realms of possibility that we go to the Etihad and get a win. If we go to the Etihad and get a win and Newcastle are on the beach because they've already secured top 4, it's all of a sudden looking good again. We could also go to Manchester City and we could get a draw. A draw wouldn't be the worst result, but it means we have to rely on Manchester City dropping points. With all of the games that they've got left in their calendar, they could do that. Who's not to say that they could drop points on Everton away, who are fighting for survival? So I think everyone needs to sort of calm down, take a breath a bit. In a very Arsenal fashion, we've sort of seen the fan base turn on each other, shouting at fans for leaving a little bit too early. Obviously, there's 5 minutes to go, we're 3-1 down. Nobody likes to see it. I don't like to see people leaving early, but you can understand it. I think the main thing at the moment is everybody needs to get behind the team. We need to stop attacking each other, stop attacking the players, digging people out. Let's just go back to enjoying the football, getting behind the team. And in a Premier League season, anything can happen. We saw it earlier on in the year. We saw Everton get a point over at the Etihad. We saw City go to Nottingham Forest and draw the game. So although it seems very black and white, this is a cup final, whoever wins this wins the league, it's not. Both teams still have the ability to drop points here. And in a Premier League season, it never goes how you expect it to. With the Southampton game, I think there were positives to take away from it. I think Martinelli looked really, really lively. He was taking people on. He was running Walker-Peters absolutely ragged. I think Saka looks tired. I would maybe give him a rest. I don't know if you do that against Manchester City. I feel like the guy can do no wrong. He could have the worst performance of his career and Arteta would still play him, which is amazing. It says a lot about Bukayo Saka as a character and as a footballer. But maybe a little bit of a rest would do him some good. We saw him sort of fade away towards the end of last season, but when you're playing the amount of minutes that he is, you can't blame him for that. He's a young lad. He still has a lot of football left to play and he still wants to play a lot of football. But when you have a player like Trossard, who is deserving of a starting spot, you can afford to rotate a little bit. Maybe give him a little bit of a rest, play him against City, see how he gets on, take him off 60, 70 minutes if he's looking tired, and bring Trossard on. I think we started to panic a little bit, but I think it will almost help swing back in our favour. We've now become the underdogs again. The pressure is almost off us in the sense of everybody's expecting Manchester City. Everyone thinks that we've fallen off now. This is our chance to go out there, prove everybody wrong, and anything can happen. There's 6 games left. Let's keep our heads. Let's put those bad performances behind us and use them as a fuel to fire us to go on and win these last 6 games. I'll be doing another podcast after Wednesday, hopefully with the result that we wanted. But until then, if you can leave comments in regards to your thoughts on the Southampton game, your thoughts on the rest of the season and where you think we will finish, any likes, comments, subscribes, it will really go a long way. So thank you very much for listening and come on you Arsenal.